Southwest Montana. I'm Chet Lehman live, excuse me, in downtown Bozeman, where winter is very much still in place here in Southwest Montana.
Rallying support for Ukraine. I'm Jared Hill with President Biden's goals ahead of his speech today in Poland and a closer look at the secret operation to get him into Ukraine.
All right, 6:29 on this Tuesday. Jay McDonald, Matt Elwell in studio, but Chet Lehman out on location in downtown Bozeman, where Chet, throughout the whole morning, it's just been getting colder and colder and colder each time we checked in with you.
Yeah, temperature right now, according to the First Security Bank thermometer at 32. It was 40. It was actually 43 when I pulled in here about 4:15. By 5 o'clock, it was 40 degrees, and it sounds like we're not going to see 40 degrees again until maybe March.
Right. That's about right.
You're not far off. The colder air is moving in. Rest assured, Chet, it will warm up before then, but it won't be soon enough for you to get out of that light.
Great. Yeah, I'm going to get in the car until then.
I think that's a good idea. We are seeing very cold temperatures dropping into Montana. I think our warmest temperatures are now, and we are dealing with gusty winds on top of that. You can see 20, 30 mile an hour wind gusts across the area, and it's been near 50 in some cases as that colder air slicing in. Scattered snow showers really impacting the early morning drive. The amounts vary, but definitely looking at that 2 to 4 inch range for several valleys. Scattered snow showers, those temperatures fall throughout the day. Really compounds what we're dealing with. We have snow in Butte as well, and a lot of that snow melted initially as it was hitting the ground. Temperatures into the 40s as Chet started the broadcast, now down below the freezing mark. So we'll be watching that, of course, very closely throughout the day.
Absolutely. Thank you, Matt. It's a day to take it slow and give yourself maybe a little bit extra time on your morning commute. Now, our top story this half hour in Butte yesterday, a woman with a message got the attention of law enforcement. Our John Amy stopped when he saw her to get the story and to find out if what she's doing is illegal.
An armed person held a one-person protest at the corner of this busy intersection in Butte while openly carrying an AR-15 rifle and a concealed handgun. Danielle Meeks received some support from passing motorists and some jeers as well.
Just some middle fingers, drive-by talking, you know.
Meeks stood at the intersection of Harrison Avenue and Cobbin Street, waving an anti-Joe Biden flag while wearing tactical gear with a rifle in plain view and a concealed .45 caliber handgun.
People are tired of Joe Biden's war on guns. It ain't the guns' fault, it's the people's.
Some business owners in the area say they have no problem with someone protesting, but they found the firearms disturbing.
It's President's Day. He has a right to protest. If he don't like the president, he has a right to do that. He shouldn't have the gun standing alongside of him. Whether it's loaded or unloaded, he shouldn't have had the gun.
Do you think people could be nervous seeing somebody on a corner with this much armament?
Probably, but their feelings doesn't really matter to me. It's what the law is and what's my rights.
And it's your
they have a right not to like it. I have a right to do what I'm doing.
Police received some complaints, but said Meeks, as of that morning, wasn't threatening anyone. Montana law allows people to open carry firearms and concealed firearms without a permit. Some say Meeks's method of protesting could be alarming in this time of gun violence.
We can be sensitive to his desire to have the right to keep and bear arms, which most people are. He needs to be sensitive to the feelings of other people who find that a fearful situation.
Thank you very much, John. Now, a part of Montana State Highway 86 from around Ferry Lake and Brackett Creek roads could be named the Jacob Allmendinger Memorial Highway. A bill with a hearing before the Montana legislature Monday afternoon intends to honor the Gallatin County deputy who died in the line of duty in October of 2019. He was responding to a call of a driver stranded during a storm near Ferry Lake. Allmendinger's family moved to Butte when he was young. He went to high school in Belgrade. It's a story we'll continue to follow here on Montana This Morning. In other news, all of Montana's members of Congress were in Helena yesterday to give state lawmakers an update on their work. MTN senior political reporter Jonathan Amberian fills us in on what the Washington workers are saying.
It's been traditional for the members of Montana's congressional delegation to address the state legislature during their session, but this year they're doing it a little differently than previous sessions, with all 4 members speaking on the same day. First up was Senator Jon Tester, the lone Democrat in the delegation. He vowed he would stand up to the Biden administration on issues where they didn't have Montana's best interests, and he urged the Montana legislature to take action to help working families in the state.
It is time to use Montana common sense and to come together to address this issue so that we can make sure our state remains the last best place for everyone who wants to put down roots here, not just for those who can afford it.
Republican Senator Steve Daines blasted the federal government for their handling of issues like the southern border and inflation, and contrasted it with the direction state officials have taken.
People, as we know, are moving to Montana not just because they saw the show Yellowstone. They're moving here for the quality of life. We've always known that about Montana. But they're also moving here for the quality of leadership.
Congressman Ryan Zinke, representing Montana's Western House District, said he was willing to work together with anyone who loves Montana. He said Congress needs to open up the budget to take a closer look at how money is spent.
Because some programs have outlived their life and no longer provide the service that they were intended. In some areas, we need more money. We need more funding. It's true. But Congress has to review it.
Congressman Matt Rosendale of the state's Eastern Congressional District touted his efforts during the House Speaker race to force rule changes, and said he'd continue to take strong stands during upcoming debt ceiling and budget fights.
Congress is not working the way that the Montana legislature has been working. I can guarantee you that. And so in order for us to start making some changes, then you have to change the way that the place functions.
Also during Monday's joint session, Tom McDonald of the Confederated Salish and Kootenai tribes spoke on behalf of Montana's tribal nations. He talked about the strong partnership they've built with state leaders and the strength that comes from Montana's diverse population.
To embrace and celebrate our diversity makes our state stronger and better prepared for challenges and opportunities into the future.
In Helena, Jonathan Amberian, MTN News.
Thank you very much, Jonathan. Now, this morning, President Biden is in Poland, preparing to give a speech to rally allies across Europe nearly 1 year after Russia invaded Ukraine. The president made an unexpected visit to the Ukrainian capital yesterday, and we're learning more about that meeting that took place. We have Jared Hill from New York to tell us more.
This morning, President Biden is in Poland's capital city of Warsaw on a mission to firm up support for Ukraine after his surprise trip into the war-ravaged nation. The ongoing threat more than evident as air raid sirens greeted President Biden as he walked through the capital city.
We're here to stay.
It's a trip the White House says was in the works for months.
As for why now, what better time than to go ahead of the 1-year anniversary of the war and make a very symbolic demonstration to President Zelensky, the Ukrainian people, and the world of the steadfast support of the United States for Ukraine.
A tight-knit group of intelligence and security advisors put President Biden on a smaller plane, codenamed Special Air Mission 60, instead of the typical Air Force One. It took off from outside of Washington, D.C. early Sunday morning, refueled in Germany, then turned off its transponder before landing in Poland near the border with Ukraine. The president and just a few aides then boarded a heavily guarded train with U.S. planes watching from Polish airspace, leading President Biden to President Zelensky in Kyiv. Russia's President Vladimir Putin was notified in advance.
He thought he could outlast us. I don't think he's thinking that right now.
President Biden brought gifts, nearly $500 million additional dollars in military assistance. Now he hopes to use that momentum to push European leaders to continue their support. Jared Hill, CBS News, New York.
Now, the president's trips comes amid new concerns that China is considering providing Russia with lethal aid in its war against Ukraine. Now closer to home, MTN's Edgar Cedillo first showed us a group of Bozeman Tenants United that hosted a town hall pushing for city leaders to change short-term rental ordinances. Today, Edgar explains why residents say a change is vital for so many renters.
It's time to make some changes before it is too late.
I'm terrified that if I do lose that place, I don't know that I will be able to stay in Bozeman.
Members of Bozeman Tenants United packed into Pilgrim United Congressional for a town hall to share their experience renting in Bozeman with 4 city commissioners.
We deserve to have a place to live for a reasonable price.
I'll say that I hear from a lot of other people is that I feel very lucky now. I won't say that I pay cheap rent, that's not true.
While this isn't the first time that the group has voiced their concerns to city commissioners, this is the first time, however, that the commissioners came to them.
A lot of public comment and talking to our city commissioners at their city commission meetings about housing and our tenants' experiences with housing.
They say a lack of affordable rentals in Bozeman is affecting the local economy.
Restaurants closing randomly, businesses can't stay open, can't hire people like my friend who got pushed out, who was a nurse.
Those young and old share their frustration with city leaders wanting more action done at a faster pace.
There's a vast majority of people who this issue impacts.
The group asked commissioners to pledge a ban on Type 2 and Type 3 rentals, which state if an owner is partially or not present at all at a rental. They also asked city leaders to direct city staff to research a ban and subsidies, and asked commissioners to pledge a vote on this before May 8th. The group tracked their answers on a large billboard. The commissioners all supported research, but their answers varied on the types of bans, saying that they need more information before deciding.
Our campaign is to ban second home Airbnbs here in Bozeman and Bozeman city limits. So that doesn't include Gallatin County, so that would include like Belgrade or Four Corners.
When I sat down with one of the group's leaders, they said housing affects everyone living in Bozeman.
It's not just young college students who are experiencing lack of accessible and affordable housing, but it's also like people who have retired here.
Signing the bill is only step one. We need to see that the city acts out, implements this, act properly.
In Bozeman, Edgar Cidio, MTN News.
All right, thank you, Edgar. Now 6:40. Chet Lehman still out live in downtown Bozeman as those temperatures continue to drop. Chet?
Yeah, Jane, Matt, it's actually beautiful out here right now. The temperature right at the freezing mark. The snow has backed off. The wind has calmed down. I'm at the corner of East Main and Bozeman, and if you look on North Bozeman, tree line with those beautiful streetlights, it's absolutely gorgeous. What you can see in the road behind me, though, is the cars have driven over that about 1/4 of an inch of snow that we had. They are spinning out if they have to stop, and they are sliding as they are coming to a stop. So it's going to be slick on your morning commute. If you haven't left for work yet, you're obviously sitting at home watching us on TV. Give yourself a little extra time. It's not going to be very nice out there.
Yeah. And I think that is going to continue to be the case, Chet. Snow, as I said, as you said, has let off, but we'll see more snow throughout the day. And with those temperatures dropping, what you're seeing is probably more likely to be what we see.
It's been phenomenal. I've seen 40 degrees. I've seen rain, sleet, snow, wind. Now it's calm. Temperature has fallen about 8 degrees just since we've been here at 5 o'clock this morning. And I just know it's not going to get any better as this day and the next couple of days go on.
Right, well, and it's important to keep in mind those higher elevations, Matt. Once you go to, the Bozeman Pass, Homestake Pass, that adds a level of difficulty on those streets.
It certainly will. Chet, thank you this morning for being out there and tackling the weather. You drew the short straw today.
It's my pleasure.
All right, we'll check back in with you a little later, Matt. A little later, Chet. 6:42. We're going to take a short break.